Welcome to Shorts Beyond Measure, where fashion, interiors, and psychology get the stylish, savvy, and slightly therapeutic touch.
We're Tara West, Caroline Baltz, and Allison Goldberg, a fashion stylist and 2 interior designers who are also trained as psychotherapists.
So let's get into what's trending, what's tired, and what's actually worth your time. Because good style and good decisions should never be short-lived.
Hello, ladies.
We're back.
We're back with Rachel Wexler. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
A good friend of mine. You know, we were just talking to Dave about his son, and secretly, well, not so secretly, I wouldn't mind if your son married my daughter, but we will just put that out in the universe.
It's not the first time it's been put out there.
Her son, Gabriel, is just such a sweet, I love him. Like, everybody loves him. I mean, all your kids are great, but, you know, I have a special place for him in my heart. Just saying. Wouldn't mind.
I know. Hey.
Let's bring those arranged marriages back, people.
Totally. Well, you never know. I'm always like, don't have it happen now. Wait for later. Like, let it like be meaningful.
Let them be, and then
we'll see.
28.
They planted seeds in the toddler room.
Yeah.
Then there was Spain.
They were hanging out in Spain late night. I was like, all right, late night is a good sign. Just saying.
And then they both got up early together.
They did. Yeah. So we don't know, but we don't know.
Well,
so
now we want to know. Can we call
we
them and
approve.
find out what happened in Spain?
Well, we're going to continue talking with Rachel about her fabulous business that she built. And there are some key elements that you like to use, right, with your women and some of the people that you work with. So why don't you tell us again your title, because I'll butcher it. Thank you.
So I call myself a leadership development partner. I work with leaders and their teams to really become unstuck. So we identify what those elements are, and then we work on ways to really build that muscle and to operate differently in line with their goals.
And so talk to us a little bit about this executive presence that you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think the idea of presence, so many times particularly women come to me, and I will not say it's only women because we deal with a world where there are a lot of men who are also insecure. But women will say, how can I show up and really elicit confidence in everyone around me? And that doesn't matter whether you're in a Fortune 500 boardroom or you are part of an organization in your community, or you're serving on the board somewhere. We all want to show up as our best selves. We want to show up with confidence and some conviction. And so, you might say, well, where does that start? And I often tell people that this is about knowing your strengths as well as knowing your areas for development. We go into places and we know who we are. We call that our identity. But that's different than your reputation, because your reputation is how everybody else sees you. And the goal is to close those things in so that who you are is how you show up. And our goal a lot of times is closing that. So what else do you think about? We also ask people, like, what is your why? What is that that bigger goal that everything you are doing kind of ties to? Because if you know a bigger purpose, you're not just pushing paper or doing a rote task. You are actually, it's tied to something that you hope to have a greater impact. That doesn't need to be that you're saving the world, but you are thinking bigger than day to day. It's also important to know your needs. Like, what are your boundaries? Do you need exercise? Do you need, some people say, I need that morning time, half hour, whether it's a run or a walk. I just need solitude. I need that time to think. I also, talk to people about, what do you need to be human, to show up as yourself? And sometimes, it might be, when I initially asked the question, I thought, gosh, I don't want everyone just saying, like, I need to get my nails done, or which I do, or I need to, or I need something like material. It's more about, like, where do you shine, and how do you shine, and how can you leave your house in the morning saying, like, I'm here and I'm ready to take on the world.
A lot of your stuff is very, psychology driven. Do you come across a lot of men in these higher up positions with an ego that can't really hear you?
That's a really
and
good
what
question.
do you do with that?
Yes. Well, it's funny because I went into this saying, and I still go back and forth because I love working with women and getting them to be their best selves. Like we've either been that woman, we've seen that woman, both. Men come to me because they also say, I know I could be more effective and I don't know how, and I don't know who else I could admit this to.
See, Dave, there is hope for you.
Maybe.
Well,
But
that's a big breakthrough though too, and that must feel really good when.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is amazing. But most people aren't there yet,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So you gotta, I don't want to say break them down, but you have to figure out your way in. So one of the things I do, excuse me, is I'll do a personality assessment because sometimes there's like, oh, that's soft, right? Like I don't need to talk about those things. Like I'm really concerned with meeting my numbers for the quarter. And when you say, well, when we do a personality assessment, I like the Hogan assessment, if you were asking.
We didn't. No.
By the way, Caroline likes any kind
Yeah.
of
Data? You had me at data.
She's like in love right now. She's like, we are going out.
Yeah, Caroline's like in shock. She's so excited right now.
It is all about data. And so if you can say to somebody, we are going to take a look at you and we are going to compare you to a database of hundreds of thousands of working adults, right? You have a valid, statistically reliable data set. And this is not just soft stuff. We can really draw relationships and meaning and derive insight from that. And so that's where you might take somebody who says, I know how to have a conversation, to like, how do I show up? And when I say certain things, like, what do other people hear?
Right. How is that perceived?
Yeah. So, I mean, I came from a world where I was very quantitatively evaluated. That's how we led. That's everyone, you look at every day, you're looking at where are we with respect to numbers and timelines and things like that. And so I live in a world of data. And so bringing that into the work makes it.
That's so cool. And I can totally see the connection that you guys have about bringing women up and lifting them up. And you do that in your work and you do that together in your friendship, which I think is such a cool component because Tara's talked on this podcast many times about how like, I just started and, I didn't know what I was doing exactly with fashion and interior. I mean, the whole fashion styling component of it was like new for you, right?
Well, yeah, and people still are like, what's your business plan? I said, I've never had a business plan. If I had a business plan, I probably wouldn't be where I was because I'd be so focused on this plan
Rachel definitely has a business plan.
You know what the advice everybody said to me was, don't write a plan. Because they said, we know you. You will spend all that, and I still plan a lot of things. Like you will get so focused on the plan that you're going to miss what else you might be doing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If I had a plan, which I didn't ever have a plan, but if I did, you get so caught up in the details of the plan that you're right. That organically it can't grow because you're kind of stuck to this. Yeah.
So tell me though a little bit about you pivoted from job A that you were doing for a long period of time to this. What support did you provide each other in that process? And I know Tara would be the perfect person to talk to if you want to start something because she knows everything about that. But can you break that down for me because that's a little hazy in my mind?
Break down how Tara supported me or
the
point A
transition.
Point A to point B.
Because there was a long time when you would talk about it. And
I talked about it every year. Do you remember? I'd say, this summer I am leaving. And in my very planned way, I had saved this money to give myself a sabbatical. And I was very like, I am going to support myself and I'm going to get through this piece of it. And every winter I would dream up these plans, traveling, like the kids would go to camp. I would travel. I would play a lot of tennis. I would spend a lot of time with friends. Like I would do all the things that I wasn't doing when I was working full time. And it sounded amazing. And then May would come and everyone's like, okay, when are you leaving? Right. And I'd say, like, there's always a goal. Like I'd always find the excuse. Right.
Yeah.
And Tara heard that like time and again. At one point she said, like, you're never going to leave. So I ran product development and strategy for a number of education companies.
Oh, cool.
And so I worked in different sectors of education, and from 2015 until about 2023, I worked in it was really about workforce development. So talk about lifting people up. It was also people who may not have been successful in school to really reach their potential, and who are coming back and second-time learners, really. And so looking at it at a very macro level, and we were running an online community college equivalent, a career school, and an online high school. The company's called Penn Foster, and we were finding the most high demand jobs in the economy that didn't require a college degree. And we were creating programs around that to help people become credentialed and prepared.
And so I'm just going to stop you there because I love that you're explaining that.
Not relevant to the...
No, you are. But you could keep doing that.
Yeah.
And you kept doing it, and you would say to yourself, I could keep doing this. But then at some point, what made you stop?
I want to know that too. You
Yeah.
just asked the question.
Right.
I'm like, bye.
So what finally made you, not Tara West screaming in your ear, come on, girl, you got this. But what finally was it that you were like, okay, this is the time, I'm doing it now?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
I was turning 50.
Thank you, because there's a lot of people listening turning 50.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's great.
It was a year and a half before I turned 50, and I said, if I don't do this and I keep talking about it, I am going to live with regret. And I said, I don't want to be the person living with regret.
And once you made that decision, you went all in, which is amazing. And then sometimes she would come. I'm just going to speak for you because I love you. So, and there was this piece which we all struggle with is social media. And Rachel, I remember we were away for somebody else's birthday or something, and you were like, okay. Like, I need your videographer. I got to start talking. And how is there Facetune? Like, what is going on? Because as you know, when you start to put yourself out there, it's terrifying, right? And we criticize and we do all these things. So I gave you Brad's name, and I was like, just go for it. It's gonna suck so
And
bad.
it sucked.
Yeah. Well, it sucks at first because you are not comfortable and you are criticizing, the way you look, and it's like all of those things, right? But Rachel did it. You did it.
I did it, and the funny thing is we go back to those videos in 2024, and you think, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Cringy.
Like,
I
so
know.
cringy. And so I think that is the key. Like, you just, like, you have to take that leap. And that leap, it feels like you are jumping off a high dive. You're jumping off a cliff, and you don't know how to swim. And I still very much feel like I'm getting to the surface of the water. Like, I wouldn't say I'm firmly there, but there's just this has been such a lesson for me in resilience, in creativity, in iteration, and getting back to data, we like, social media is about data, right? We put a lot of stuff out there, and it is scary, and we also learn from it. And so,
Ooh, and you closed the gap between your why and who you are and your reputation.
Yeah.
well said.
I'm a quick study.
Yeah, she really is. And so where do you see the business? Like, I know where you're at. You're building still, but it's gotten momentum. You're in a good place. I know Rachel because she's very much like me. Like, you want it to happen overnight, and as we know, I'm like 15 years in, and it's still going. Right now, I'm not 15, but a good 10 to 12. And so, where would you like to be, or where are you headed?
So I started this business thinking it was a three-legged stool, that it was going to be like some coaching, some consulting, and also taking these ideas that people are sharing, that I'm doing through some research with a number of leaders to really share some of these ideas around humanity in the workplace, authenticity and trust, and how to build really high performance teams. So I thought of it as a three-legged stool. And I'd say part of the iteration, I now think of it as a two-lane road, where one is the consulting and coaching, and that those two things sort of work hand in hand. And then the other is, again, like these ideas. And my why is I want to contribute something bigger than me. And I have a lot of ideas, and social media is my opportunity to work through them and to put some things together that maybe have been said before, but not quite in the way that I see it, or taking two things and putting them together. And I think, a lot of it starts with presence. It's, so I take the medicine myself, right? How do I walk in with eye contact? Someone told me a great story, and they said, so many women, you think you're connecting when you run into a room and you tell them everything that you've done that day, and that you want to put out enough branches that people can hang on to you. She's like, actually run to the room, and before you walk in the door, take a deep breath and calm yourself. And put a smile on your face, and don't look like that harried, like I'm trying to do 17 things, which I'm so good at. And go in and just instill confidence in everyone. You can still greet them really kindly. You can still ask them about what they're doing, but you can let them lead, as opposed to you coming in with all of your stuff.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I know.
So what are your socials? Because you gave us LinkedIn. Are you Instagram? Can you plug those a little bit?
on I would love to plug. On LinkedIn, it's Rachel Levy Wexler, and my business is Rachel Wexler Leadership. On Instagram, where I only post the things that have pretty visuals, so it's not the full thing, is our Wexler Leadership. And Wexler has an X as in X-ray, Wexler. And my website is rachel-wexler.com.
Well, thank you, Rachel. It was a pleasure having you.
So much fun.
Thank
So
you.
much
You
fun.
have a wonderful presence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this week's Shortlist. Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, share it, leave a review, or let us know what's on your short list.
Shorts beyond measure, because the most important things in life can't be quantified. Yo.